He normally joins us Mondays at 4, but a very special Wednesday appearance from Donovan McNabb. Donovan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, fellas. How's everything going?
What up, Big Five?
We had a big
What's
win.
happening?
We had a big win for the first time in a month. You're nowhere to be found on Monday.
Hey, man, flight delays. I'm trying to get home from the East Coast, man. You know, trying to reward my son for his birthday, 16th birthday, man. I apologize, but I'm here now.
It's all good. It's all good. And did you have a good time? You were at the autograph signing thing, right?
I was in town for a day or so for a little autograph session, then I flew on out and on a world tour of different countries. So, I'm here.
There you go.
So, Donovan, if I were to ask you, so the Eagles win 31-0 over the Raiders, a welcome victory. What do you think was the biggest reason the offense was able to find success on Sunday?
I would say the Raiders aren't very good.
That's one of them. Yeah.
I said this. Remember, I said this last week. Not too high, not too low, depending on what happens. I mean, the thing I will say is we at least ran the football, but we finally decided to involve Dallas Goedert. And then I think our passing concepts are very fundamental, and we were just efficient with it. I think for what we've seen offensively and defensively, it just wasn't anything that was shocking to me, or did I get overly excited. I think it's more of what happens in these next 3 weeks for me to understand a little bit more of where we are and where we're going from both sides of the ball.
They certainly appear to go back to playing from under center a lot more in this last game than we had seen in the previous 3 games. First of all, I'm wondering why the hell they even went away from it, because they had a lot of success in that Vikings-Giants game, and then they seemed to go away from it. But then they went back to it. You think this is something they stick with? Because it's helping out not only in the run game, but it's also helping out with the play-action passing game as well.
Well, honestly, Ike, I will say they better. And I don't know if it was so much of Jalen wasn't comfortable with it, or, maybe Kevin was just trying to find something that he can find a happy medium for Jalen and the offense, because they decided to maybe throw first and then run second. But when I look at just this offense, and I talked about it probably around week 4, week 5, of just kind of talking about what this offense was missing. It was, one, being able to establish the run, and that is getting on the center, where you can have 2 options. And the option is hand the ball off and then run bootleg. Mm-hmm. And then you can get in the shotgun where teams are expecting you to pass, and you can do the read option and then your quick game. And it wasn't so much of the read option, but we started trying to do the quick game, and defense is keyed on it. And so now you look at, well, what's next? Well, the play-action game. And the only way that the play-action game becomes very effective is if you are under center, and you're showing teams that you can play from under center. So now in the drop-back game, when you do a flash fake to, Saquon, and you've been running the football, more of the attempts and not so much of the yards, mm-hmm. Now you're starting to get safeties and linebackers to have to commit to the run first and then pass second. And so you can establish the downfield throw. Mm-hmm. And so with that, it put pressure on your middle part of the defense, and that being your linebackers and your safeties, because now Dallas Goedert can be more of effective in the middle of the football field. And we still haven't used them in the middle of the football field the way that we should.
So, Donovan, we're talking about under center, and it's interesting. They were under center 30 snaps, but they still only threw the ball 5 of those snaps under center, which is not nearly the number that other quarterbacks that are under center that much are throwing. And that, I think that sort of points to the opponent, because they're going to need to do it more. What is, from a quarterback perspective, what is it, aside from it helping the run game and creating that decision for the defense to make, from a quarterback's perspective in throwing the ball, what is the advantage throwing the ball under center, and then what is the disadvantage throwing the ball under center?
Well, the advantage of throwing the ball in the center is you get a pre-snap read. You're seeing the defensive front, and obviously a lot of times your coverage is mirrored from your defensive front. And being under center is a lot of things that defenses can't do. There are a lot of things that they can do. And I think you're dictating what you're expecting and what you want from that defense. And so being under center, first thing they're going to think about is run. And so now with the run game, you can do a stretch play. You can kind of do an outside zone, inside zone, and run a bootleg off of it where you're getting ends to commit because they're trying to stop the run. And safeties now begin to sit at about 8 to 10 yards where you're doing a concept which you might go over the top with Devontae. You have a crossing route from Dallas Goedert, and you have a comeback backside, maybe with A.J. Brown, and run your backs in the flat. So now you got a 3-level throw. You're having a 3-level throw by showing the run, running the half bootleg, and now you're putting pressure on that safety and that outside linebacker. And so when you get from under center to shotgun, now the first thing they're thinking about is you're going to throw the football. So you can just run a shell kind of a defense to keep everything in front of you and apply pressure from your front four or maybe add another linebacker. And so I think for a lot of teams, for instance, if you go back to the Chargers game, they ran a lot of under center plays with a guy who just had surgery about 5 to 6 days before the game. And that was something that Harbaugh's been very effective because he can run Hampton, he can run his running backs, and then he can utilize his tight ends the way that he did. And so, yes, we were able to apply pressure from our front four, but you're still being able to dictate what you're going to get from that defense and that defensive coordinator.
Did you see enough Sunday to feel good about moving forward? You got a division game coming up Saturday against Washington down there. You got Buffalo next week, and then you finish up with Washington before the playoffs start. So my big question would be, I understand the opponent was the Raiders, so you can only take so much from that. But they dominated them, and that's what good teams should do to bad teams. I'm just wondering how much does that change your outlook on the team moving forward? Do you feel better about them moving forward after that?
Well, yes and no, Ike. And I'm probably in the same boat with you. Is yes, because we did play the way we should have played. Mm-hmm. No, because we talked about them being under center. But then the no part is, so what do we do with that? Are we just kind of going to be a little bit vanilla with that? Or now can we open it up where now Jalen trusts it, and then also Kevin Batula begins to trust it, where we can now get a little bit more creative. Mm-hmm. Because when we play against our rival opponents, they've seen us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This isn't something new where it's a new team that all of a sudden's on the schedule. They've seen us, so they're going to game plan for the shotgun. They're going to game plan for now looking like what it could be under center. Now, can we change it up? And that change up could be a little bit more of shifts in motions. It could also be a little bit more of the wide receiver screens. It could be a little more of the downfield throws where we haven't seen that as much. Yeah. I want to see us be able to throw dagger routes at 18 yards. I want to see us be able to throw comebacks and post corners. I want to see us be able to run more of shallow crosses, something that, he's very effective and efficient with, but you got to be able to establish the third level, and that third level being obviously, the deeper pass, past 18 yards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they put him under center. Spike said 30-plus times, but They ran the ball so much. I wonder if they were using that game just to get him accustomed to being under center more, and now you add a little bit more as we go here. Like you said, Donovan, where you can do some things in the passing game, but I think the first step is just getting him where it's almost – it's second nature to him to be under center. I wonder if that's what they were doing Sunday.
Well, I hope so, and I think there's a way of approaching it, and I think right now, I think Kevin and Nick are approaching it slowly so Jalen is comfortable, and I think Jalen is starting to understand what he can also do to this offense. Yeah. And that only works in the favor of everybody on offense, even including Jalen. So I think we expand from it, and we'll be interested to see how many times we're under center. Will it be 30 or more versus the Reds? I mean, not the Redskins, the Commanders. I don't think so, but I think it's when you show it and the timing of when you show it, and then what you do with it.
All right, Donovan. Well, I appreciate all the insight, and we will talk to you Monday after, 2 days after the game.
Yep.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks, man. We will talk to you next week.
All right, broski.
All right, you guys have a great hump day, man. Enjoy yourself.
All right,
All right.
Donovan.